Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on our weekly video update. If you'll remember from last week, we talked about provisions in our American Laws for American Courts bill. The discussion for that can be found on last week's edition of the video update. This week I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the next piece of legislation that I filed. This piece of legislation has to do specifically with our Second Amendment rights, a right that was given to us by our Creator and is then backed up in our Second Amendment to the Constitution. This week we're going to talk about Senate Bill 680. Senate Bill 680 has a couple of provisions in it. First of all, under current law, political subdivisions may enact ordinances regulating the carrying of firearms. This act, Senate Bill 680, would remove that authority so that political subdivisions would not be able to regulate the carrying of firearms beyond what our state statutes already say. In other words, it simply makes it where our state statutes are what determine how a person can carry a firearm in the state of Missouri. Another part of this provision talks about local ordinances that regulate the discharge of a firearm. Now, what this bill calls for is that if a city or a political subdivision is going to regulate or restrict the use of a firearm, that they have to also then have justification portions in there. In other words, if a person was to use a firearm in self-defense or in the defense of others or the defense of their property, then of course that would be a justified reason for having used a firearm, even if that particular political subdivision says that you cannot use a firearm or discharge a firearm within their city limits. So that's a little bit about Senate Bill 680. Next week we're going to talk about a physical problem that we have here at the state capitol, and that is our limited handicap parking. We have a situation at our state capitol where, in general, members of our handicap community, but specifically our disabled military veterans, simply don't have enough parking at our state capitol, and I have filed a bill to correct that. Thank you for being with us this week. We look forward to visiting with you again next week.